What's going on YouTube? It's James with the Waaaggghh Workshop, and I got a tutorial today. I was asked on YouTube to how to paint orc skin, the green skin, and there's many different methods that I've learned throughout the years. I've actually been painting orcs for quite some time. I think close to 20 years, and one of the first times I ever painted orcs and goblins was I used to look at white dwarfs, and they used to tell, or not even the white dwarfs, I think you should just get the box, and the box would tell you need these colors, and it would give you like 2 or 3 colors only, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's how you paint them, you just need a goblin green, that's it, you know, and I would paint them like that, and of course it's just like one tone, there was no shade to it, there was no highlighting to it, and it just looked, everybody looked the same. As I evolved throughout the years in my painting styles, I used to still use the goblin green as kind of like the standard, but I would do well, I don't know what the old name for it, but it's the Waaaggghh flesh as a base coat, then do the goblin green, and then highlight it with a lighter color mixed with like the goblin green mixed with yellows and stuff like that. And then I took it a step further because one day I just kind of looked around and I was like, why the hell do all my orcs have the same color skin? I mean, they should have different color skins. So I started playing around with different greens, and that's what I'm going to show you in this tutorial. I'm probably going to break this up into many different parts because I'm a very slow painter, so I'm just going to show you one of the models I'm working on now, and then just show you clips later on of other models I'm working on, just do different skin colors. Also, I'm also still waiting on my primer here. So I'm just going to go into it. Alright, so this is one of the orcs that I'm working on, one of the newer orcs I'm working on for to replace my my Ed Bashers. And this is actually a converted model from Waaaggghh Miniatures. You see he has that little whip ball and chain there. He had an ugly face, and I think this face is actually from 40K. So I just put this head on. Now, as you can see, as this focuses here, I already did all the skin tone with the Waaaggghh flesh. This is just the base coat. So I got all the greens just to point out where all the skin is for myself. And then right now I could go sloppy. It doesn't matter because I haven't painted anything else. So I'm just going to go ahead and I see I've missed the spot already. Now all my paintbrushes get beat to shit because I don't know how to take proper care of my brushes. So I just kind of go through them like nothing. Sorry guys. But yeah. So I'm just double checking to see if I got all the skin, and then I'm gonna go ahead. Now I have different colors here. I have all these greens. I probably should zoom out for this. I don't need to. That's fine. All right. All right. I'm trying to find them all. So the thing with orcs is I don't mind using different skin tones. I mean, like as you can see, these are all different greens I have going on here. I have like I said, the War Boss green here. I have Skarsnik green. Skarsnik green, I like it. It's a little bit lighter. The other one I really like is actually where is it? Strachan. That's another Skarsnik. That's another Skarsnik. Why do I have so many Skarsniks? And I don't have Strachan here. War Boss, whatever. Strachan green, I don't know, it's in there somewhere. Anyways, that's the Waaaggghh flesh. This is the other dark color I really like, is Lauren Forest, whatever it is. Yeah, Lauren Forest. Come on, zoom. There you go. Bam. And then there's also Elysian green. And then there's also, I think it's called like Nurgle-rot. Not Nurgle-rot. There's a very light colored green. Nurgle Snot. What is it? I don't remember what it is. Nurgling. There it is. I know these are all coming out blurry. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get it to focus, but it doesn't want to focus. It wants to focus on the stuff in the background. There we go. Nurgling and then Strachan. So what I do... There's Strachan. I found it. Alright, I'm going to just put it to the side so that way I don't lose it. Alright, So what I do is I'm going to go ahead and pick one color here. Let's go ahead and start off with, since I was looking for Strachan so long, let's do him in Strachan. Alright, so I already put down the base coat of the Waaaggh, and now I'm going to go ahead and I have this is just a medium base brush. I'm going to go ahead and use the Strachan, and I have never painted in front of a camera before, so this is going to be difficult for me here. I realize that it wants to just get me down here. Alright, sorry guys. So the one thing is, the face has a lot of details because it's a better, actually this is a very good sculpt, period. So what I want to do is I do kind of like, it's not a dry brush, but it's I just don't allow the paint to get into the cracks. So it's kind of just being careful and just making sure that I'm keeping it pulled back just a little bit so it doesn't get into the deep cracks. And he has a lot of divots inside of his chins, so like around where his lips are. So I don't want to get in those cracks. I want to keep those with the Warboss green, or I'm sorry, the Waaaggh flesh. So I just went around the lips, and I got that. Same thing with the eye sockets, the nose, the cheekbones. So I'm just painting a very light touch to make sure I don't get inside the cracks, and I just get the highlights. And then same thing with the biceps and the armpits here. I want to make sure that the dark parts stay dark and the highlights stay higher. So, alright. If it does get in the crack, it really doesn't matter too much, as long as it's not everywhere. You know, I mean, if it gets in here and there, it's fine. Just because I am going to do a layer of wash, and that will help any errors you might have made. So. Okay, one more arm and leg. And that is an extremely hard spot to get to because it's like inside his armpit. That's hilarious. Most of the time I usually build or paint the model then build it versus just building the model. And this guy right here is showing me the reason why I do that, because he has spots that I can't get to that I'm really going to just have to like paint in there somehow. Okay, so as you can see, that's the Strachan green with it's a little heel here. The Strachan green with the Warboss. Okay, now we're gonna go into the next step. All right, I usually do about 4 steps usually, maybe 5. Okay, and that's a lot of steps, I know, but I don't really speed paint my guys. I kind of just make sure I get into detail on the skin colors. So either I go from this step right here where I just did the first layer of highlighting and I'll go into a wash, or I'll go into a second highlight. Now when I use the Strachan, I have the option of lightening it up either with the Nurgling green. I also have the option of lightening it up with a mixture of Velour brown. And the reason I use Velour brown mixed with Screaming Skull, if I can find my Screaming Skull, is because it adds like a little brown tint to the skin, just a little bit. So I'll have Screaming Skull mixed with Strachan mixed with Velour, and I kind of just mix it however much. I mean, I usually try to do like an even ratio of 1 each. But depending on how light I want them or how dark I want them, or if I just want them looking a little bit different than everybody else. So let's go ahead and grab the Stacking Green. We're just going to mix 1-1-1 so you guys see what I'm talking about. And I just use my cutting board here as my mixing palette. I always do this, so as you can tell, there's just things a mess. Oh shit. And the reason why I throw the Screaming Skull in there is because it'll lighten it up even more. We want it to be lighter than the color that it's currently at. And the Velour Brown is a little too dark. So it will make it very... you want it to lighten up. I mean, the way the light works, the light's always going to make the highest points stick out like more than the rest. So I'm going to need to add a little bit more Screaming Skull to this batch here, just to make it even lighter than that. And that is more my desired look right there. Okay. So now that we have this, now I don't normally have a preference to what color skin I'm giving them, except for the only exception to that rule is models that have numerous models on it, numerous orcs and goblins on there. Because if I paint this guy this color and I paint the next guy next to him this color, it doesn't bother me, as long as they're not all matching the same. But like on the Arachnarok, there's 8 different goblins on there, and I did every single goblin in a different skin tone just to give them some difference. So here I'm just going to go ahead and kind of highlight, and I'm going to pick out the details with this color first. I'll give you guys a close-up of the face right now after I finish this layer here. And also, you want to prime your models. I didn't even prime this guy's head just because I was kind of being impatient. But it's plastic, so it's not gonna be horrible. So as you can see, come on, there we go, bam. You can see that's how his face is forming out versus like his hand. But let's get to the hand now, actually. And I don't mind taking the extra steps on mixing my own colors, and because I'm in no hurry usually. I'm usually making whatever characters. Like I know my next event's going to be Okon, so I'm going to go ahead and fix up what I want to bring to Okon. And most of my army's already made, so I just make newer units for whatever I'm adding to the army or taking out of the army. It's my motivation to work on my army, basically, is what event's coming up next, what tournament's coming up next. And again, I'm trying not to get in all the cracks. I want to make sure that there's a lot of detail with the highlighting itself. You want to, that's one thing I kind of think of is, yeah, models give you the opportunity to just paint within the lines, but then also while you're in the lines, you can always make other shadows on your own if you know the muscular anatomy. Like if you know how striations work on biceps, if you know how striations work on pecs, you could always work with those lines, and they might not have it, but you could add it. And it's similar to, sorry if you guys have just been only seeing my hands, I haven't really been watching the camera, but it's similar to airbrushing in Photoshop on models, on real models. fitness models, because what ends up happening is when you airbrush and Photoshop them, you add those layers of details, but you're not really changing the shape. You're just adding shade where it should be. And that's what you do with a miniature. What you could do with a miniature. Okay. So this is my first layer of highlighting here, or second layer, sorry. Almost done. And this is where the magic's going to happen next. Okay, so he is, let's just use my towel here to cover up the background. There we go. Come on, fucker, focus. Okay, so you can see I just did all the layer of that, like light brown or velour brown mixed with the Screaming Skull mixed with the Strachan. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the wash. Now I have my choice, and this is really kind of like I said where the magic happens. I have 3 different washes I usually use with skin tones. I have Waaaggghh Earthshade. Okay. I have, I'm really sorry about the focus of the camera. It's not being friendly to me today. I don't think it likes being zoomed in this much. I have Seraphim Sepia, and I have BL Green. I think I have Camo Shade here too. That's actually something newer I've been doing. The thing is, it doesn't matter which one I use. Okay? I want to go for whatever desired effect I want to go for. So, this guy, since I already kind of mixed the green and browns, I can make him more brown by throwing in sepia. I can make him more green if I throw in BL Green. And what I also could do is I can just mix the both, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mix them both up. I'm going to go ahead and throw an even amount of, if I can find my shade brush. There it is. I'm going to throw in 1 part sepia and 1 part BL Green. Okay? So, and then again, I'm going to just use my cutting board as my mixing palette. Make sure I have a good nice wet sample there to mix. Alright, now the BL Green right now to me looks like it's kind of overpowering the sepia, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in a little bit more sepia because I don't want it overpowering that. I don't want it that green. I want it a little bit more brown. There we go, that works better. Okay, so that gives me like a dirty green almost. Alright, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply it all over the skin right now. This is going to take a while to dry, so I'm just going to stop the video and start again once this dries off. Okay, so I'm going to get in all the cracks. Anyways, I'll just stop it here because I'm doing a bad job painting on camera. Alright, so I had to switch the camera to the left side because I figured I'm right-handed. I actually just watched what I taped and it was pretty bad. You guys see my hand most of the video. But anyways, sorry about that. So the wash should have dried by now, and I'm totally lost here. There we go. The wash should have dried right now, and this is basically our effect that we got going on here. As you can see, it kind of, well, the lighting is a lot darker on this side of the room too, or on this side of where the camera is. So, but if it would focus on dude. There you go. But you can see the wash did get in. The wash did come out a little bit greener than I wanted it to. I wanted it a little bit more brown, but you know, to be honest, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm not that anal about stuff like that. So, it still came out pretty cool. I like how it came out. And there's a spot or two I noticed I missed. But what I'm going to do since this guy looks really cool, you're probably going to take in one of my front ranks because he's crouching down like so. So I'm going to go ahead and give him one more layer of highlights with the same mixture of the Strachan, Velour, and Screaming Skull. And then I'm going to do even one more highlight where I even get closer to the Nurgling Green with Screaming Skull, or just Screaming Skull itself, or just Strachan mixed with Screaming Skull. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's since it'll be in the front, he's seen more often than the others, and he will be extra highlighted. In all fairness, I don't butcher my jobs in the guys in the back. Most of the guys I have in the back, if you've seen pictures of my orc horde right now, they are old models I had, or black orcs, to be honest. Because I've been playing with savages so long that I kind of, it's been a while since I've been using regular orcs. So using the regular orcs, in all honesty, I do miss using the savages just because I missed the big Stabadon. That thing was awesome. But using the regular orcs, I do miss using the models. I have some really cool models. I got some from Rackham. I got some from the old edition Biggins. I got some from the old box sets. So I have like orcs from all over, and I just feel like I wasn't even using them. They're just sitting in my bag for a long time. Taking away the frenzy bait and taking away the 5-up save really changed how I look at my regular orcs now versus my savages. Now, I'm not being 100% truthful. There's probably some wet spots still on here. I do this all the time because I get impatient. But I'm going to go ahead and just carefully pick out the details I want to pick out. So like, I got a smaller brush now. I go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and pull out what details I want sticking out. The one thing I did on here that I normally don't do is I painted the skin, all the layers of highlights for this video, but I didn't paint his eyes or his teeth. And now I'm going to have to go back super carefully, because normally I just paint the red dots and then cover it with the highlights. Any mistakes? Now in here in his little divot, I hope you guys can see this better, the paint job at least, because this is over my left shoulder. Adding it those little grooves that are holding his lip together with the highlights, and then his jaw. Alright, I'm not going to paint areas that are naturally shaded like his under his jaw. I do have a little bit in his neck that I totally missed entirely, so I'm just going to go ahead and give that some color. I'm going to get his bicep. Now here's what I was talking about with the striations. I know how the muscles look, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw some lines where the striations should be. I mean, these models, the Rackham miniature models, they're actually really well sculpted muscularly, so you don't have to do too much in the sake of adding on extra lighting, because they're very well done. All of them are. They're really expensive too, and you got to get them from like Poland or some shit, but they're really well done regardless. They're some of my favorite models that I have. I have some really, I like a lot of the models. I like mix and matching, and I love the fact that the orcs are pretty much everywhere. They got them in Avatars of War, they got them in Titan Forge, they got them in pretty much different ways and shapes and sizes, and I do like using a mixture. And for some reason my phone didn't even finish its Hadouken. And like I said, this is not my normal flow of painting a miniature, because I would have painted the nails, I would have painted the weapon and all this other stuff to make sure if I did get it on the model itself, I didn't have to cover up the highlight. But I don't care. I'm a careful painter. I'll make sure I don't get the skin later on. The hand I have to do pretty much a dry brush technique. I used it all up on the rest of this, but I used the rest of the paint on like normal, like I actually painted it on the other body parts. But the hand has so much detail with the veins and the little bones. I'm going to try to zoom in here, sorry. So you guys can see the hand. So I just kind of dry brushed to pick out the details of the hand. There, sorry, I was trying to get there so you can see. So, and that's about it with the fourth step. I'm gonna go ahead and do one more step of just pretty close to white as possible. Well, I don't use ever just plain white. I mean, if I do use plain white, it's like for cloth or something like that. But I'm just saying. So I use Screaming Skull a lot to lighten up everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and do just Strachan Green here. And I'm just going to do a huge glob, like a 2-to-1 ratio of Screaming Skull. Screaming Skull is one of the colors that I end up buying the most because I lighten up everything with it. It's the easiest. It's I think more natural to the eyes on highlights than white, because white sometimes just kills the color. So I'm just picking out like the tip of the lips, the tip of the nose, with this mixture of pretty much close to Screaming Skull with a little tint of green in it. Okay. And this is just one model. You know, I'm probably going to go ahead and do just show you the different models when I'm done, versus just showing you like individual paint jobs, because this is going to take forever. I don't know if you guys minded watching this video of me just painting at a very slow rate. But yeah, it was a request. I'm gonna go over the different. Yeah, I'm just gonna show you, like, I'll show you on the Ragnarok. I have the different color skin tones. All right. Highlight the foot, and that is pretty much skin complete. Once it decides to stop focusing back there. So, come on, focus on him, not the brush. Goddamn brush. Alright. There you go. As you can see, got all the highlights in there. He has very good. I usually get the knuckles too. The knuckles are really important to highlight, because that's usually, like when you make a fist, that's what sticks out. What sticks out is the knuckles. See? Anyways, alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and just pull out the Ragnarok and show you guys that, and then I'll get back to it. Alright. Alright guys, here's my Ragnarok, and I have to hurry through this because I don't have that much memory left on this memory stick. But, as you can see, I have all these goblins here, right? Now, the one goblin I have way up here, like the little head honcho up here, this guy, backwards, this guy is done with that Lauren Forest color mixed with Elysian green, and there's a little bit of Screaming Skull Belore brown mix in there. Alright, now, this guy down here, this one's done with War Boss green mixed with yellow. So I started with the same technique I just showed you here in this video. We did Waaaggghh flesh, then I did the Waaaggghh green, then I did the Waaaggghh green mixed with yellow. It doesn't matter which yellow because you're just going to get a different skin tone if you do. Now this one's done with, it looks like this is a Strachan green mixed with the Screaming Skull. The washes are different. This is going to be a Bealtan green. This one's going to be an Earth Shade green. This one up here was an Earth Shade green. Or Earth Shade, not green, just Earth Shade. This guy down here, he looks like he's a Lauren Forest mixed with a Belor Brown mixed with Screaming Skull. This one is another Lauren Forest here, but this one is kept dark. So it look, actually I think this one's Death World Forest or whatever it's called. So, because that's how dark he looks to me. And then this guy here, this is actually a Warboss flesh mixed with Elysian green, and then the Elysian green's mixed with yellow, and that's why he's so bright. And then over here, this guy over here, this is a Strachan green mixed with, actually I think I think this one right here is a Skarsnik green. I'm sorry, this one's Skarsnik, and then this one's Strachan mixed with the Earth Shade or I think it looks like an Earth Shade and a Sepia wash. So basically they get different tones, and as you can see they all just kind of have like a different look to them because none of them are the same green roughly. The washes are all different. They're all going to be washed with like either Sepia or Earth Shade or the Bealtan, and they're all highlighted differently, so it gives it a different look. But they still look uniform. They still look like goblins with tattoos and bows and all that stuff. So anyways guys, and if you've never seen a close-up of my Ragnarok, there you go. You got right in there. Alright guys, hope you like this. Hit like and subscribe. My memory's dying, so I'm just going to have to stop the video here. But hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you have any comments or feedback, leave it down below. If you guys want to, any comments or feedback about my hand while it was painting and my Thor shirt, leave it down below. And also, if you guys want to help support my cause and my hobby, get me some batteries or a better memory stick, you could go to my YouTube channel and donate to my Orcs and Goblins cause. See you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace.